Fatty acids are important, but what are they and why do we need them?
Okay, well, fatty acids are substances which we take in the diet every day. They come in a variety of types, some of which you might have heard of, called saturated fats. The ones we're particularly interested in are a group of polyunsaturated fatty acids called the omega-3 fatty acids. And within that group, of which there are several members, one in particular called docosahexaenoic acid,
Right.
which I will now abbreviate to DHA from this point onwards, is critically important for making a brain. This particular polyunsaturated fatty acid, DHA, is needed in order to make the connections between nerve cells. And these connections are the whole basis on which the brain functions. And the level of function of those connections depends to some extent on the amount of this fatty acid, DHA, which is present.
So how do we get DHA?
So there are two ways in which the mother can acquire this DHA. One is from her diet, and this is where eating oily fish comes in. The other possibility is to make it in her body from a rather smaller fatty acid molecule which goes by the name of alpha-linolenic acid. During pregnancy, women adapt their metabolism, the way in which their body processes fats in this case, to increase the amount of DHA in her bloodstream. Mothers being able to make this DHA means that the mother's body isn't leaving the development of the baby's brain to chance. Not all women are able to make DHA at the same sort of level. We've been looking into this, and we've been trying to understand how the genes which control the production of DHA are in themselves regulated. And this brings us into a very new area of science called epigenetics. And this basically means that it controls how hard genes work at any one time.
So the secret to building a brain is that mothers do amazing things with their fatty acids. They get them to the child before they're born and in the early days of feeding, and that's building the best brain for that child.
And that's a very remarkable thing. But what we now need to understand is where the variation between women comes from in terms of the ability to make DHA, and perhaps which women are at risk of not being able to make enough themselves, who then may need to take a bit of extra in their diet.
So we're looking at how we research the differences between different women, their ability to produce DHA, how that translates, and putting that into practical studies.
Exactly. So there's two levels. One is that can we identify women who might need a little bit of extra DHA in their diet. The other, which is a much longer term aim, is to actually change the epigenetic control of the genes. And there are ways through nutrition which you can do that, particularly around the amount of folic acid and vitamin B12 in the diet, which may provide another route which will help mothers make enough of the DHA themselves if they can't do it with the way their body is organised naturally.
So it seems that this is a fairly solid, optimistic story for women, that if they keep doing what they're doing, taking folic acid, then we're on the right path.
There are a lot of benefits to taking folic acid as recommended by the UK government at present in order for women to protect their child. And I think that's probably the message that I would really like to leave you with.